Hey,
Yeah,
gather room. Gather room. Okay.
What a way to start the show. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Big show today. Lots of news. The Mandalorian and Grogu trailer is here. We'll talk Starfleet Academy. Apparently, there's a new episode. And a very special guest, filmmaker Roger Avary, is joining us in about 30 minutes. And he'll take my questions and your questions. So let's start Film Threats Hollywood on the Rocks here on a Wednesday. Let's start the show. Let's go. Come on. It's time for Alan. I have a very, very special treat for Alan today.
Alan!
Hey,
how's it
by
going?
the way, in honor of our guest today, I had pancakes for breakfast.
You had pancakes. Oh, oh, I got that joke. That's a good one. But we want to start on time today. Maybe we're a little early. We are.
Yeah, well, that's weird. I'm not used to this.
Yeah, but we got to get through some news before we have a nice long conversation. And there is a lot of news. So let's get right to it. Star Wars is back, and it's better than ever. If you've not seen this, Alan, this is the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer.
I can't wait. Finally, a Star Wars movie. Since Rise of Skywalker, we haven't had a Star Wars movie.
Oh
and
God,
finally,
I just realized it's been 7 years. It's been 7 years.
Well, hey, between Return of the Jedi and Phantom Menace.
Yes, well, there you go. But let's take a look at this trailer. Dropped yesterday. I'll bring it up full screen and let's watch it. Are you ready, Alan? You have not seen it.
You know, I guess I've seen this.
No, you haven't. This is new. Let's just watch it.
All right.
Not R2D2. There you go.
Hey, never touch the buttons. I can use some information.
Whoa, for this price, I'll tell you whatever you want.
I'm looking for a HUD.
By the way, you know who that is?
It sounds familiar.
Martin Scorsese.
Oh, okay.
The guy that criticized all the Marvel movies and spectacle as being more like theme park rides. Listen to the voice. It's Martin Scorsese. Listen to this.
I can use some information.
Whoa, for this price, I'll tell you whatever you want.
I'm looking for a HUD.
Close for the night. Thank you.
Gangsters, war criminals.
Long live the Empire.
We'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
This isn't about revenge. It's about preventing another war.
Strap in.
You will suffer. And then it will be his turn.
How does he wears the mask all the time?
Yeah.
Does he have to take it off to shave to maintain the mustache?
Yeah, I think he just
goes wearing the mask.
Yeah, I think he can't be outside of whatever domicile he might have.
So where does he go to shave?
Yeah.
All right, let's just keep watching. On May 22nd.
Yeah.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor. The kid will live centuries beyond me. I won't always be around to protect him.
Are you scared? You should be.
Do we run? Or do we fight?
I like this kid.
Baby Greedo.
A baby Did you see
Greedo.
that?
Yeah,
Baby Greedo. They're doing Baby Greedo. That's
Yeah.
Baby Greedo.
There we go.
Okay. This is a kid's movie.
Yeah, it is.
This isn't a Star Wars movie for adults. This is a kid's movie. I predict it'll probably do
Really
better
well.
than expected.
Yeah.
Better than expected for a TV show. So let's watch the rest. That's little Baby Greedo.
What are you waiting for?
Flip around.
Let's save the rest for after dinner.
He likes macaroons forged for IMAX.
Oh.
Alan, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
Okay. My first thought is I don't hate it. It feels like it's a Jon Favreau movie.
Yeah.
Second thought is, look, the intended audience, we talked about it's for kids. When I was 10 years old, you know what I watched? I watched the first Star Wars movie.
Yeah, right.
That was good enough for me. I don't know why we're dumbing things down for children.
Well, it does look dumbed down for kids. I mean, you've already got the concept of Baby Yoda. These are all secondary. Like, look, the Mandalorian is effectively Temu Boba Fett.
Yeah.
That's who it is. It's Temu Boba Fett. You've got cutesy. When your franchise is doing Muppet Babies,
yeah,
you got problems. No disrespect to Muppet Babies, but there are many franchises that have gone down the roads of the baby version. When you do that, I think you've hit the bottom of the barrel.
Well, and that's my point is, parents took their kids to see the first Star Wars movie. You wouldn't objectively say that there were things in there for kids. Maybe R2D2, maybe the droids, maybe the cantina. I certainly that appealed to me when I was that age, but I still understood the rest of the movie, and I still fell in love with the franchise at 10 years old. And this need to, Skeleton Crew, and now the need to dumb stories down for children is just it's an abomination to me.
Let's go to comments real quick.
Yes, the Introspect M. This latest trailer actually seems okay. If it had come out after Mando season 1, I might think it has a chance, but I don't trust it anymore. I actually agree with that.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Yeah. Brock Samsonite, it's like season 3 never happened or mattered. Yeah.
Correct.
Tim is not funny. I like this trailer and look forward to taking my kids to this movie. They love Grogu and are getting into Star Wars. Yeah. I mean,
for a kid, this is very safe, very accessible Star Wars. I predict all the violence will be bloodless and it'll just be cute and the stakes are going to be low.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it credit. People die in this movie. That's something.
Do they?
Oh yeah, you saw him shoot the bounty or whatever.
Okay, but those are just faceless.
Still people die.
Whatever. I mean, who cares?
Die. It's not like the A-Team where after a giant crash and gunfight, everyone gets up going, "Whoa, what happened here?"
Well,
I'm sorry. Tim is not funny.
No, you already read that.
Okay,
yeah, this is a kid's film, and I think kids will enjoy it. Alan, at the top of the show, I said I had a treat for you. I'm not even sure if you are ready for this, but we need to talk about Slanted. Slanted is a movie. Well, it's odd. It's about a young Asian girl. And I don't even know what to say, but we are going to go through the press materials for this movie, and you have to see the trailer. I've got it queued up for you right here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, strap in. I don't even know what to say about this movie. Let's just watch the trailer.
Have you ever suffered the injustice of being a person of color in this world? Have you ever had someone tell you how impressed they are, how well you speak English without an accent?
你为什么老是化这么浓的妆啊？Speak English 吗？
Wait, what did she say?
I have no idea.
Okay, let's keep going.
Ching chong bing bong.
You're just tired of the way white folks look at you. If you can't beat them, be them.
Oh no!
I have
What?
some sad news. I'm not gonna run for prom queen.
Is this a real thing you can do? Like put a clothespin on your nose to make your fat nose? Does that really work?
I believe people would do that.
Okay, let's. I won't interrupt anymore. Let's just watch.
Gag. You think Olivia's racist and stupid, so help me beat her for prom queen. I have a whole plan. Vote for me. Vote for me.
你的头发怎么啦？本来这黑头发不是很好看吗？
I've decided I'm going to endorse one girl for prom queen. Someone we all want to be, irregardless of prejudice. I can see your black roots.
Ugh.
Ew. Hello?
Don't be shy.
What is this place?
We help you reach your true potential.
Welcome to ethnic modification.
Oh no!
3, 2, 1. This is my favorite part. How are you feeling?
It's good to be white.
It's good to be white. It says Mean Girls meets the
Meets something.
substance. Oh my god.
Hey, new girl.
Hey, come sit.
Yeah.
Now it's a different actress.
It's a body horror movie now.
It's a like body horror. It's the substance,
Yeah.
basically.
怎么要这么做？
I just gave myself an upgrade. Finally be treated the same as everybody else.
Look at what you've done to yourself.
What happened? Hey, I'm busy.
For a new plant to grow the seed.
Yes.
This is a common side effect. This is a common side effect. This is a common
I
side
think I've
effect.
gotten to the point where I don't want to watch this movie.
Joe, how wonderful is it to be white?
Do yourself a favor. Get tickets to a Michael Bublé concert. That experience as a white person will change your life.
So this is in theaters. We are going to see it. I'm not going to miss it. Alan, what do you think of this movie? And wait, before you say anything, I want to intro your opinion with what do you think of Slanted?
Yes. Thanks for having an introduction for your joke there. Yeah, some comedians would just do the joke and not point it out.
I was okay. Anyways, what do you think? I want to
See
know
what you do is after I'm done, you play it, and then
I'll do that.
Okay,
Everyone
here we
will forget.
Okay, so
what do you think?
Yeah, interesting. So I think for me, I would like it if there's the message that similar message that the substance had, that there's kind of a moral leading to the end. I'm watching it going, man, this could be woke or but I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'm kind of concerned a bit about where it's gonna go. I will say, in all my life, I have never uttered the words, "Man, I wish I was white."
Yeah, it just I don't know.
But,
You're a lot of people say that. Well, Asian women are like the new blondes. I've heard people say that.
in what way? I mean, like Asian women want to be blonde or
Look,
blonde?
check this out.
Yeah.
Let me these are 3 movie posters for the film. They kind of tease the this is ethnos, find your best self. A picture of a banana being peeled. It says, "We know you're white on the inside."
Yes, that's an old joke. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Ethnos is all right. Let's look at another teaser poster here. This one, it says, "The whiter, the better. Ethnos. Find your best self." She has all white teeth except for one yellow one. These are teaser posters that are kind of clever. Here's the official poster for the film. I'll just show you right here. It's a young woman's face. She's kind of melding from Asian to a white girl. She's wearing like a prom queen. It's hat, and it says, "If you can't beat them, be them." And the director of the film, I believe her name is Wang. It is Wang. No, it is Wang.
Yeah, she has both a first and a last name.
Yes, Amy Wang.
Amy Wang. Okay.
This movie's in theaters nationwide March 13th. He has a director's statement. Would you like to read it, Alan?
Sure. As an immigrant, I've always been aware that I look different. As a teenager trying to desperately fit in, I used to wake up and wonder, wouldn't life be just easier if I were white? Slanted is a satirical exploration of whiteness that challenges that question. It examines the cost of chasing acceptance and what it means to abandon yourself in the process. Is belonging worth losing who you are for a system that was never built to value you?
Well, I mean,
very good. See, good timing. You got it.
There you go.
Yeah,
So
this is the statement that worries me about this movie.
yeah, it seems like she's trying to make a serious point in the midst of all this.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've just grown up. I'm just too old to blame white people for my problems.
Well,
Or to blame white people for my hangups.
If this is a comedy, that's great. That kind of leans into the one joke he said about Michael Bublé, like, go see it as a white person, it'll change your life. But I don't know. I get it. I just wonder if it's going to be funny or be very anti-white and kind of like we've seen that before, and that's what my concern is.
I mean, that's exactly my fear. It's either going to be a really great movie, or it's just going to be one of these political movies that just hates white people.
And I mean, I'm kind of over all those.
Yeah, I don't know why. You know, what do we look as an immigrant? My family came here. Yeah, yes, we were different, but we made the best of it. I mean, look, I don't know a single person ever who has not felt different and felt left out.
I mean, that's a universal thing, is to feel different, left out. You're not the prom queen, whatever. But they're really pushing it. I think the problem is that race is so much a part of conversations, like that it's tiresome to me. It's tiresome when you're reading like crosswalk signals are racist. Like, okay, I get it's like traffic.
Well, no, the crosswalk signals are homophobic.
Like, just guys, you are looking for problems where none exist.
Yeah.
I hope it actually mocks it. I hope it is kind of like The Substance, which mocked, women's value being all about looks. Like that had satirical elements. So we'll see.
There's a lot of truth behind it.
Yeah. And congrats to, I looked up the director, Amy Wang, is actually writing Crazy Rich Asians Part 2.
Yeah. So they changed writers. I mean, Adele Lim, who wrote the first one, great. She did Joyride. I can't say enough great things about Adele Lim. I don't know Amy Wang.
Well,
I'll tell you though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though how being different and Asian works for me recently. Every time I go to Costco or Sam's Club, there's these people who have petitions that they want you to sign. They never come to me and ask me.
Oh, that's
I could just walk right in and not be bothered by them.
They assume what you think by the way you look. I wonder, there's a word for that. What is it?
That's prejudice.
Let's go to comments.
Yeah. Pookie Malibu, remember for 19 months, they cast an Asian lead only to turn her white. Hashtag representation.
It would have been more interesting if they actually put makeup on her to make her white. That would be interesting.
Like white chicks.
Yeah.
Fourth one time. I mean, I understand why they did that. I'm not gonna fault them too much for it. It's point of the movie. Fourth 1042. I hear the story is about Some Dun Ho. Some Dun Ho. John Manling, what the fuck is satirical explanation of whiteness?
I don't know. We're going to find out on March 13th.
It's just this obsession. I talk to people outside of the United States, and they all wonder why Americans are so obsessed about race.
Because it's about division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because okay. ADLS 24. We'll talk to Roger about it. ADLS 24. This would have been more interesting like 30 years ago. Its themes are passé now. Yeah.
Correct. Like the movie
70s.
Hollywood Shuffle. Hollywood Shuffle
Yeah.
was like right at the time. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying 60s, 70s. I mean, my family was different and we were treated differently. But it's 2026.
Yeah.
50 years later, things have changed. Aaron Sharman, Alan's thinking, I wish I could be white. I wish I could be white. Sam Spurgeon. Okay. Cool, they remade White Girls.
Yes. Seems like they did. Okay, guess what? The WGA staff goes on strike weeks ahead of the AMPTP negotiations. Now, who these people are, they're not the writers in the WGA. This is the staff who works in the WGA offices.
The administrative staff.
Yeah, the admin staff. So, Alan, you have the story from Variety. Give it to me.
Yeah, the WGA West's own staff union launched an unfair labor practice strike on Tuesday, accusing guild management of labor law violations during stalled first contract talks, ongoing since September 2025 after the union formation last spring. Core allegations: surveillance of union activity, termination of union supporters, bad faith surface bargaining with no genuine intent to agree on key issues, staff demands, just cause seniority protections, improved wage scales, pay raises, AI workplace safeguards, grievance procedures, and basic fairness and accountability. Also, there was environmental, protections in case the world goes to hell.
What does that mean?
Yeah, we talked about it before, but picketing outside WGA West headquarters occurred last week at a member meeting. Guild impact. So this is what's going to happen to the guild. The headquarters is closed to the public and members. Writers Guild theater screenings are suspended. Upcoming member briefings on the AMPTP negotiations are canceled. March 8th award event status unclear. Core ops such as dues and residuals continue via non-striking exec managers through strikers doubt long-term feasibility. I don't know what that says. WGA's response denies bad faith claims, comprehensive offers made over 19 sessions, calls. This is not written very well. Let's just say that they're saying that they in best faith tried to negotiate with the union.
Yeah, not surprising. If this is what's going to precede a potential strike by the WGA, it's only going to accelerate AI. It's just going to accelerate AI.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man. What do you think, Alan?
Well, I mean, this is this ongoing trend of administratives and support crews attempting to unionize. I believe it happened in animation, happened at Starbucks.
Right.
This union formed last year in spring. People got fired because of it, because I know the union doesn't want a union being formed from underneath itself. This is everyone feels like they need to belong to a union now. So there's that. The other thing I'm kind of questioning, or the question I have for WGA members: are you going to support the strike? Are you going to stop working and in solidarity with the secretaries and the bookkeepers who are now on strike? This is insane. That's all I can say.
Well, it would be hypocritical for the WGA to criticize the staff for wanting to form you know, a union. It would be their hypocrisy.
Mhm. I think this is the ultimate irony, though, because a lot of companies, I believe it happened even in the comic book industry, they're trying to keep their support staff from unionizing. And this is probably the first time you've heard of a union strike coming from within a union.
Yeah, I have not heard of this before, but a lot of those jobs, those admin jobs, are the ones that could be replaced by AI.
Yeah. I mean, I talked with someone who's part of the WGA, and it's like, I think they think that these strikers are crazy.
Let's go to comments.
David B. Oh no, writers won't get their coffee. Uncle Remus, goodbye Hollywood. It was fun. Yeah. Just ADL's 24. Unions creating subunions to undermine each other only prove why unions are no longer relevant in our modern times. Absolutely.
Let's see. Let's do one more news story before our guest joins us. And here's what's going on. Netflix dominates the Indie Spirit Awards, the Independent Spirit Awards. If you don't know, Alan, that is the preeminent independent film award show. And guess what won? Guess what won?
Train Dreams.
Train Dreams, a movie that's already been nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars.
Yeah. And Golden Globes and Critics' Choice.
Golden Globes. So Train Dreams and Netflix dominated the winners. This is from IndieWire. I believe they're one of the sponsors of the Spirit Awards. Part of the reason I began Award This, created that event, is because I didn't feel like the Spirit Awards actually honored real indie movies. Here's the proof. Go to awardthis.com if you want to get info about a real independent film award show. But Alan, give me the full winners, the highlights of this. And by the way, I watched the show.
Yeah, so did I.
It used to be on IFC. Now it's just on
it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, just like we are. There's no shame in being on YouTube. YouTube is TV now. YouTube is TV. But this Independent Spirit Awards, these aren't indie films. These are low budget studio movies, A24 movies, many of which are very good, Neon Films, many of which are very good. Those are all subsidiaries of bigger companies. And Train Dreams was put out by Netflix and has a Best Picture nomination. Alan, give me the highlights.
Win. Okay. So I'll quickly breeze this story, but basically Netflix came out big at the Independent Spirit Awards. So Train Dreams secured 3 awards: Best Cinematography, which it's quite gorgeous, Best Director, and Best Feature. So it won the big thing. Now, also it won the television awards at the Spirit Independent. It won for Adolescence. It won for the series, won for the actors, and it won for, I believe, the director as well. And then on top of that, Netflix won Best Documentary.
I'm just saying, and look, to be clear, I do not believe that these are unearned. These are very good films. These are smaller studio movies, very good films. I don't know about calling them independent in spirit. That's fair.
That's a very big.
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
but these are not movies like made by a small group of people with financing put together from crowdfunding or alternative sources. It's just not that. So and also, by the way, all the movies that won at the Spirit Awards are gonna lose at the Oscars. Train Dreams will not win Best Picture, even though it's nominated. It's not going to. It's going to be Sinners or One Battle.
But I can guarantee you Adolescence will win the Emmy this year.
Yes, that's going to win the Emmy. I still have to get around to see that. I have not seen that.
I'm not. The big deal on that is it's all one shots, I believe. Look, what qualifies your film as a film independent for the Film Independent Award? It's a movie that has big stars in it working for scale.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I guarantee they're going to now look, here's our event right here. I'm going to show you right here. Our event is Award This, and here it is. Go to awardthis.com if you're an indie filmmaker and submit your movie for review. It's really simple. Anyone is eligible.
Yeah.
Anyone.
You can submit your film now for this.
These are hardly true indie films. But hey, we have a special guest joining us today. I'm honored and excited to have him join us on the show. He is a filmmaker, screenwriter, a person who thinks for himself, my kind of people. And I have been quoting his Oscar speech for years. I'm going to tell this story on the show. I watched Roger Avary and Quentin Tarantino win the Oscar Best Original Screenplay. And
both gave one of the greatest speeches.
Well, one had time to give a speech. The other got sort of the short end of the stick and a quick speech and said, I really have to pee, and then walked off. It's great. I might have a clip of it to show here. Let's bring on to the show Roger Avary. Roger.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Great.
Good to finally meet you.
It's really a pleasure to meet you, Alan.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
great. I love your background too. Okay.
Look at the arcade in the background. That is awesome. Is this your man cave?
Yeah, this is my office, my man cave, and these are some of my arcade machines. I loan a bunch of them out to Supercade, which is arcade people, and then they loan them sometimes to Flynn's Arcade at Disneyland. And I'm actually kind of bummed about that because I had a Tempest that absolutely got destroyed at Disneyland. But I only collect vector machines and only Atari. And so I actually, it's not quite true. I have a Cinematronics game, Star Castle, which I had to have because it's made with pure logic. It's actually kind of an incredible engineering achievement. But if I collected British sports cars, it would be like, oh, I only collect Triumphs of a certain year or whatever. These are all vector machines. The difference between a raster machine and a vector machine is that a raster machine is like a standard television set from the old days, like Pac-Man would be a raster game, and it uses cathode ray tube, whereas these use a vector graphics, which are like an oscilloscope. So it uses a vector beam instead. And this is my favorite one, the very, very first first-person shooter made by Ed Rotling. It's a Battlezone. And
that's great.
Amazing game. First-person shooter ever made. And let's see, over here I've got a Black Widow game, which is kind of like Robotron. If you ever played Robotron, one controller controls the
movement
position, the movement of your Black Widow in this case, and the other controller controls where you're firing to. And so you're a Black Widow defending your nest. And then over here I've got Gravitar, which is, I have a lunar lander that's in storage because the sad thing about it, this is like the loneliest arcade in the world. It's like collecting refrigerators. So I've got a ton of them. Like I've got a whole bunch of them, but I only have so much space in my office. And so I just keep these three here right now, but I cycle them out. And this one, Gravitar, is amazing because it has, gravity physics, if you believe in gravity. And it's got gravity physics. And, that's a joke. And you're just kind of flying around these various play fields, collecting and destroying stuff as you go, flying saucers and collecting payloads and going on to the next screen. These are like amazing games, and the graphics haven't really aged because it's a vector beam, like an oscilloscope. It has a kind of classic feel. These two are color machines. This one uses overlays, and then over there in the corner I have a a Vectrex machine, which I don't know if you remember those.
Oh, yes, I do.
The Vectrex was a fabulous little device.
So was the first Star Wars arcade game effective?
Yes. Yes, Star Wars, and very much like Battlezone, there was one called Red Baron, and then I have a Star Wars. It's an upright Star Wars. I just didn't have enough space to get the full sit down one. And then there's an Empire Strikes Back game as well that is where you fight the big walkers and stuff like that. Yeah. That's great. That's amazing. Well, and then Tempest, if you remember Tempest, that was a color.
Yeah. I played way too much Tempest.
Yeah, Tempest is great, and but Lunar Lander was the very first one. I mean, these are from like 1981 to 1985 or so, and they break down all the time. You know, the Wells Gardner monitors in them are very, very touchy, and mostly what I spend my time doing repairing them is replacing the capacitors, because capacitors, when capacitor stores energy and then releases energy. And the capacitors tend to get old and stop holding they stop storing as efficiently. And so every now and then you've got to go through and pull the motherboards out, get out my soldering gun, and go through and just replace it with a cap kit of a whole bunch of different capacitors, so that they run, and they'll run like new after that. I mean, these are still in good shape. Some of the vinyls are a little tattered on this one, but I have a replacement vinyl that someday when I have time, I'll fix it.
Nice.
It's literally like you spend more time restoring than you do actually playing. Yeah. So.
I want to talk about your Oscar speech, because I never miss the Oscars. I watch the Oscars live every year. Love it. I saw your speech live, and it relates to me because, strange story, I found out later in life that I was born with one kidney. So
wow.
I was born with the only.
You tried to give it to somebody, and you're like, "Whoa, I can't honor that.
I can't donate
that promise."
Yeah. He gave it to his unborn twin.
Because I pee so often. I'll just quote your speech, as Roger Avary said at the Oscars in his legendary speech. I really have to pee now. I would like to get your.
You want to unpack that? You want to unpack that one?
I have the clip here. Can we watch it? And then
yeah, sure. Well, look at. Okay, there's several things to look at in here. First of all, watch when the screen goes black. Secondly, watch how Sir Anthony Hopkins' tongue does like a little lizard thing. Those are both important moments, which I'll explain afterwards.
Okay. Here we go. I'm going to play it. He's going to announce them, and then you and Quentin come up, but let's watch.
And the nominees are Woody Allen and Douglas McGrath for Bullets Over Broadway, Richard Curtis for Four Weddings and a Funeral, Francis Walsh and Peter Jackson for Heavenly Creatures, Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avary for Pulp Fiction, Krzysztof Piasowicz and Krzysztof Kieslowski for Red. And the Oscar goes to...
Watch the tongue.
Quentin Tarantino, Roger Avary for Pulp Fiction.
The tongue! You're right.
Yeah, and then now watch for the where the camera goes black.
I think I think he looks happy about it. So let's watch. Here we go.
Here we go. They didn't teach you together.
It's gonna be a surreal experience.
Yeah.
Thanks. This has been a very strange year. I can definitely say that. You know what? I was trying to think, I think this is probably the only award I'm going to win here tonight. So I was trying to think, maybe I should just say a whole lot of stuff right here, right now, just get it all in my system. Because I thought about all year long, everything building up and everything, and just blow it all just tonight. Just say everything. But I'm not. Thanks.
I want to thank my beautiful wife, Gretchen, who I love more than anything in the world. And I really have to take a pee right now, so I'm going to go. Thank you.
Okay, what happens when it goes black? Okay. Well, okay.
So the camera goes black. So you'll notice that all the Pulp Fiction people were sitting center stage, with at the Miramax thing, and they were all there, but not me. They sat me like way off to the side, like I was at the side, and at the very, very side of it, sitting next to Christoph Pisowitz and the guy from Three Colors, and so I was. I lived across the street at that time from the stage manager of the Oscars, and so I went to her and I said, "Hey, I struck a deal with her, and just for slipped her a little bit of cash, and I said, when the camera comes on, would you make sure that the camera on Quentin, because they're going to have two cameras, one on him and one on me, make sure the camera on Quentin is turned off." And so when the director presses the button intending to go to Quentin, the camera's turned off, and so quickly they cut to me instead. And true story. That's all's fair. If they're sitting me over there, all's fair in love and war. And so I went ahead and made sure that the camera would be put on me. And then we walk up on stage, and I have a little bit of an uncomfortable hug moment, and we go up there. And what they tell you before you're going up on stage is, okay, you've got like 20 seconds to say whatever you got to say, and then we're gonna like wrap up, and then you're off, and then we'll dial up the music, and we'll kick you off stage at that point. And you see, I think it was that same year, Martin Landau went up there, and he started, thanking this person and that person, and they just turned the music up onto him, and they were going to cut to a commercial. And Martin Landau grabs the microphone, and he's like, "No, Bella!" And because for Bela Lugosi, who he portrayed in Ed Wood, which an amazing movie. Yeah. And so you kind of plan the moment. You think, oh, this is no big deal. What I don't want to do is I don't want to go up on stage and not know where I'm going to go after I've accepted an award. And everybody was telling me, "Oh, you're going to win. Like my attorney's telling me, "You're going to win." And I'm like, "Don't say that. You're going to like jinx it." And so I was very calm, actually, leading up to it, and like not really planning, but I had a plan. My plan was I was going to go up there, and I was going to violate copyright worldwide by singing Happy Birthday to Quentin, because that night was actually Quentin's birthday. And so I was going to get everybody to sing Happy Birthday. And I had that like completely in my head. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get everybody to sing Happy Birthday, a copyrighted song, to a billion people in honor of Quentin. And then they announced our names, and I jumped out of my body. It was like, it was uncontrollable. I thought I was cool as a cucumber, but the minute they said that, boom, I watched myself from like hovering behind myself as I went up on stage. And so any composure that I thought that I had was gone. And then Quentin started talking, and I couldn't even understand what he was saying because I was so flipped out. And I knew that I had to thank one person in the audience, and that was my wife. And like, as Quentin was talking, and as I was starting to thank her, I could see wrap up on all the teleprompters. And I just panicked, and I was like, and so I said, well, I would like to claim that I was quoting, Forrest Gump, and that I was quoting Pulp Fiction, because that line is in both movies. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is I had to pee. I'd been sitting there in that stage for like hours, and they give you champagne beforehand. And I was just like, I genuinely had to pee. And I've got Peter Jackson sitting next to me, like spilling into my seat. And, and I was just like, kind of, so I just was honest in that moment. And then they take you backstage, and you literally sit backstage looking at the Oscars on a little TV like this big, and waiting until you can actually go back to your seat.
But
I didn't get to go pee. They just took me right back to my seat. So
I guarantee I'll have to pee during this interview. But also, we could give you. I have some music queued up. I can give you a moment. You've collected your thoughts. What is the speech you would have given had they given you a little more time. And I can queue it up. We do our own award show with Film Thread called Award This, with smaller, what I think are the true
Real
these
little gems. Yeah, little gems.
Little micro budget gems. There's a great one in theaters now. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. It looks great.
You need to see it. You need to see it. But if I cue you up with music, could you give a speech?
Well, I mean, sure. I go for it.
And the winner is Roger.
You won. Here you are.
Accepting the award for Pulp Fiction. Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avary.
All right.
I would like to thank Miramax. I'd like to thank the actors who gave life to our words, and I'd like to thank Quentin, and I'd like to celebrate because tonight is aside from the moment where we've won an Academy Award for Pulp Fiction, tonight is Quentin's birthday, and so I would like us all to sing "Happy Birthday" to Quentin. Happy birthday to you, and I would continue on, and then I would, and then I would also thank my wife, by the way. Probably at the end of that.
In trouble for copyright, right?
That was my plan. That was my diabolical plan. But like I said, I lost all composure. And by the way, when you see me walking out, I have no idea where to go. And they usually have some beautiful woman in a gown whose job it is to guide you off stage. And even though because I was watching it, I was thinking, okay, if we're here, I'm going to go that way, and if we're over there, I'm going to go this way. Like that's how it works.
Yeah.
It just all went out. It turns out that it doesn't matter how prepared you are for that moment. It's such a large moment. You're in front of and I'd spoken at that point in front of a number of audiences. Like at the Independent Spirit Awards, they actually cut me from the Independent Spirit Awards because of what I said. Where I got up and hold on, let me get my Independent Spirit Award.
Oh, okay. We were just talking about the Spirit Awards. And what I don't know.
Okay, you almost need to see it in order to do it. I got up and I said, I want to thank you for this award. An Oscar will fit up my ass a lot easier than this will. And they cut me from the broadcast. Because look at it compared to an Oscar. I just spoke the truth.
You could actually kill someone with that.
Michael Moore was so mad at me after that he refused to interview me for it.
Oh my God. I don't know.
In the little after show that they did.
Yeah, the Spirit Awards, I used to go back in the day. I was invited, and they don't really invite me anymore. I'm kind of, I don't know.
They don't invite me. They don't invite me either.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we were just talking about it. It's Oscar light. It's
if you're going to
award
lose
for the films that won't win an Oscar.
Yeah, it's not Oscar light if you're trying to stick it up your ass, though. This thing.
True. the film that won was Train Dreams. And it's going to lose at the Oscars. I think it's a very good film, but it's not going to win at the Oscars, but it won at the Spirit Awards. Hey, I really want to talk to you about Star Trek. I saw your amazing recent appearance on Joe Rogan. You brought up Starfleet Academy. In fact, I have like a video of their latest episode. It's like a little teaser trailer.
So this is the episode we haven't seen yet.
It's the episode we haven't seen.
I did try to give them a little credit and saying, hey, maybe it'll write itself, because you never know. You never know.
We're going to talk about AI later. I really want to get into AI with you. I have nuanced opinions about it, but it's almost like it's a human form of AI. And by that, I mean, parts of AI are like a randomizer, right?
Yeah.
Like taking all this data, randomize it, making something new from that library source.
You don't need AI to make slop. So.
Right, exactly. But that's what modern IP has become. Star Wars, Star Trek, a lot of these things, like we're just going to randomize and use things. The recent Alien movie that was in theaters, which I think is very well directed. It's a greatest hits of Alien is what it is.
Yeah.
So want to get your thoughts. Here is the teaser. It's very short, like 30 seconds Let's watch it here together, and we'll get a taste of what the new episode is all about.
We're all just trying to get back to feeling normal.
Academy facilities are now closed for the All Worlds break.
Have a good All Worlds.
I'm staying here.
You can't stay. The Academy is going to be locked down.
Perfect.
Fine. Don't break anything.
What are you doing here?
Let's have some fun.
Stop. This is all as much a surprise to me as it is to you.
You did not know you have a pending spouse?
I knew I was promised to her when we were children. I really need you there tonight. For me.
I remember when Star Trek was smart and was about ideas and philosophical discussions. I mean, you mentioned it on the show, corporate philosophy and personal philosophy.
Yeah, more than philosophy, propaganda. I mean, basically in any media, you bring your message that you're trying to get on screen, and generally there used to be kind of a balance. And I mean, listen, I have to preface this by saying, and I think I said this on Joe Rogan, that Star Trek frequently explored gender concepts and identities and sexuality. And, you know, there's an episode with Riker where he goes to this planet of neuters, and where they have a single gender and one of them falls in love with him, and they kind of explore that. And so it's not like science fiction and Star Trek, you know, science fiction explored these ideas before. It's just that the quality of the writing and the thoughts behind what they were doing in those episodes were just so much better than what they're making now. And it almost just feels now like they're, just kludging in ideas as the original intent. Like they're not even thinking about like social conversations. They're just saying, hey, let's put, you know, a confused Klingon on the, on the show.
The theory I had,
which is weird.
The theory I had was like everything that Gen X loved, it feels like this generation needs to correct it. You know, that somehow that Star Wars, even Walt Disney, Star Trek, that it was just, those were old morals. Those were old ways of thinking. So we need to take all that stuff that Gen X loved and modernize it and correct it for a more proper world.
I think a lot of it has to do with the preponderance of female executives that are working at the broadcasters and at the studios. And I'm, listen, I've worked with a ton of amazing development executives, but guys, when they think about something like Star Wars, they think about it in the most basic terms, which is kind of, what guys want. Like, this sort of Joseph Campbell-esque adventure with heroes and villains and the guy gets the girl, like all the simple stuff. And a woman will generally say, I'm going to fix this guy. I'm going to change him. And so they're taking this IP and they're completely rejiggering it in a way that they think works. And honestly, it feels to me like they're getting messaging from above, mandates from above. Like, hey, you make sure to do this. You make sure to do this. You make sure to tick this box and this box and this box. And I think we know where those mandates are likely coming from. And those are the notes at the top. Like they're going in and saying, this is what it's about, ahead of, ahead of just writing good science fiction and exploring social concepts, in doing so.
But why not create something new? Why commandeer something that already worked and that was already beloved?
Yeah.
I mean, it does feel strange. It does feel strange. And also, why disenfranchise your entire base audience when you could have everyone? Like you could have everyone by, like simple canon, in Star Trek is not being respected. And things like I saw Vulcans in one episode, like taking shots. And like everybody knows Vulcans are allergic to alcohol. Like they just don't take it. It's like a non-logical thing for a Vulcan. And maybe this is just Vulcans in the far future have transgressed the way humanity has transgressed, in our current timeline. just little things like that, that just a general understanding of the tenets of Star Trek, which are kind of beloved by people. And
I think about
a technical manual, just respecting a technical manual that I mean, I have one, you probably have one. It's the technical manual will tell you certain things about the technologies involved, and they would hire physicists and scientists on Star Trek and technologists to make sure that everything kind of was correct according to the sciences behind Star Trek, warp field technology and things like that. All that stuff is just kind of thrown out the door, and everybody's just kind of winging it. It feels like, and it feels like they've brought in a lot of writers who either don't care or just don't know, and the result is apparent.
Well, I think about the Force in Star Wars and how that has become basically psychic powers instead of an underlying philosophy. And then I also think about in Star Trek the Prime Directive, and how you interact with new cultures and new societies, and that seems to be gone or reinterpreted.
I got into a little bit of an argument with one of the Palantir guys because they were like Star Wars, and I was like Star Trek, and well, we can still be friends. But we started talking about it, and my biggest issue with the developments in the Force was the whole, what is it, mitochondria?
Yeah.
Midichlorians. Midichlorians, yeah.
Thank you, midichlorians, which essentially, growing up, I had thought, oh, the Force, that's something available to all of us. Mm-hmm. If you practice, you can harness the Force and use it within your life. But when they introduced that, I mean, and let's be honest, that was Lucas who did that. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, like, the Force belonged to kind of a Swiss guard, for the princess. And it kind of, that I was already a little spoiled on Star Wars, but when I go back now and watch, Return of the Jedi, for example, I mean, I think Return of the Jedi is pretty good, actually. Like, despite that complaint, it's anyhow, throwing away these kind of these canon elements of it's haphazard.
So. It almost seems on purpose to destroy these beloved franchises. It almost seems it's intentional.
It does feel like it's on purpose. It does feel like it's on purpose.
You mentioned also, I don't know if it was Rogan or somewhere else, that you were part of a think tank of creatives from Hollywood. I believe Bryan Singer, I heard him tell a story about this, where they asked how people who do bad things might do those bad things. Yeah. And they were looking to creatives from Hollywood who write movies to, like, well, how would you say do some horrible act in the city of LA, and
how would you attack Los Angeles? Yeah. Mine involved shipping containers at the port of LA in Long Beach, which is overloaded. They can only do spot checks of shipping containers. And it involved a dirty bomb in one of these shipping containers because the prevailing winds go straight down the LA River to downtown. And it would be a very easy act to do. Some people did swift boat attacks on. I mean, you can create terror in Los Angeles very simply, and we see the Los Angeles mayor doing it. And so it's like, it's a very simple thing to do. But basically, what we were doing is we were writing scenarios by which they could then come up with preemptive defenses for. At least that was the prompt.
Wow.
And they do this a lot. This is something that, I was part of just this one group that did it, and I can't really I can't confirm, who else was there. Mm-hmm. But it's who you would imagine. It's like the people, and this was, this is in the late 90s. And so this is a long time ago now. And it was, it was like a little gig, and, we didn't do it for any money, but it was something that we all just did for, it was like we were called upon to do it. So
I want to talk about the current state of Hollywood. Why that it seems studios, in particular TV, are intent on forcing certain narratives onto, into their storytelling. And it's so obvious to me. And I also question, were they doing that before and I never noticed? Why is it so prevalent now? Because I feel like a 90s liberal trapped in the present.
I'm also same.
Yeah,
It's a bizarre thing, but and listen, I'm open to the. I'm fairly open-minded and also fairly self-critical. Look, maybe I'm just an old man, and the world is changing, and there's a new audience, and they're looking to that new audience and trying to entertain and capture that new audience, but that audience isn't showing up. And so does that audience actually exist, or are they trying to create the audience? And I think that's the question. Are they trying to, does the medium affect reality, or does reality get reflected by the medium? And I think what we have is very large. I mean, I don't even think that there's, the big five studios, I think, are all run by one giant conglomerate at this point, one shadow organization that just kind of runs everything. And so they have an agenda and a mandate, we can call it, of who they want their audience to be and what they want their audience to be. And so you put it out there, and people are pretty simple. People are monkey see, monkey do. If you show people, a nuclear family, they will copy the nuclear family. And if you show people, for lack of a better way of putting it, trans people or gay couples or people in turmoil without families, if you show families broken apart, people will copy it. It's at least a third of the population is influenceable that way, and probably more. Yeah, actually, since the pandemic, definitely more. So
yes, you mentioned pandemic. I believe our reaction to this virus has caused innumerable problems in education. You have kids, right?
Yeah, I have two children. I work with both of them. My son is a writer, and my daughter is she's a writer and a producer.
Oh,
and she produced my last two films. I mean, both of those jobs are like, when you're working with a writing partner or when you're working with a producing partner, those are trust-based jobs. And, I don't have to question my trust for them and their trust for me. I know that they have my back and they know I have theirs.
Yeah. It's an odd thing in Hollywood where, I had kids when I was young. It was like 92. My daughter was born. 94, 2 years later, my son. They're adults. I don't work with them, but my daughter is creative. My son's a U.S. Marine. There is a clear, completely different way of looking at the world if you have kids. I believe if you have kids, you have skin in the game. And the game being the future of, the culture, society, everything. I notice it's so pronounced now when I can't believe certain opinions that have become popular. I think a lot of bad ideas currently have become they're trying to popular one bad idea.
Give me a couple of examples.
I'll give you an example here. I can only identify with a character that if I look like them. Now, I think that's a bad idea. I think the purpose of all fiction, novel, comic book, movie, TV show is to identify with someone who doesn't look like you. It's how we learn empathy. We experience the world through someone who isn't my age, my sex, whatever. But there's terrible ideas, mostly from academia, that you've got to be able to look like this character to identify. I think that's a terrible idea.
Well, and it's wildly incorrect also. I mean, look, I identify with Captain Sisko, for example,
Yeah.
who is raising his son, and under very difficult circumstances, and he's trying to be a good father and raise his son, and and he's got this calling that's put upon him and everything. Okay, I'm watching Star Trek. I absolutely identify with Sisko, and and Sisko's played by Avery Brooks, and so we don't necessarily. Nobody would say we look alike, but I've modeled part of my life after the lessons I learned from Star Trek and how he raised children within that. And so how he raised his son, Jake. And so, and that's what television used to do. I feel like we went from a time where we were very, I feel like it's of course not entirely true, and maybe I'm looking at it through rose-colored glasses, but I seem to recall a great amount of both gender and race opaqueness, in the 80s and 90s. It seemed like we had these problems semi-solved. Like Eddie Murphy is, the biggest star, and like everybody wants to go to that movie, and he's beloved by Beverly Hills Cop did that, and he's got scenes where he's having fun and joshing with like Valky or whatever the character's name was in that, and they're making fun of Judd. Can't remember his last name.
Judge Reinhold.
Judge Reinhold, and he's kind of the awkward partner cop, in it, and so they're having fun with it, but I never ever once felt insulted by those films. Mm-hmm. I only felt like that there was a hero, a protagonist. I'm following him. I want him to get the bad guys. I want him to save the world or save the day. And it seems like in movies we had it kind of figured out. We knew how to play to all audiences. And now someone along the way said, no, we can't play to all audiences. We have to narrow our focus or maybe direct our focus to a very specific audience and only play to them to the exclusion of everyone else. And that seems kind of like against what entertainment is. I mean, for me, the beauty of the theatrical exhibition experience, the movie experience in a movie theater, is that you go, and I talked about this a little bit on Joe Rogan's show. You're in a movie theater, you're sitting in the dark, you're sitting next to someone you don't even know who is completely different than you in every way. They may be a different religion, they might be a different race, they might be of a different sexual orientation. They're just a different person entirely. And yet you're sitting next to them. And you're both sharing this kind of waking dream experience where you're watching your myths and traditions be told on screen. And you're having this kind of shared communal, congregational experience, and it unites us. We're laughing at the screen together. We're afraid together. We're reacting in this kind of wave of energy together. And to me, that's what movies are. And, and like Quentin and I used to always go out to Compton and Torrance and go see movies there. And we went and saw Purple Rain. I think Purple Rain was at Del Amo. Maybe it was it when Old Town still had theaters. I can't remember the exact theater.
Was it the bowling alley?
It's out there. Yeah. With a full on Friday night, complete African-American Black audience. And we love seeing these kind of movies because that audience, they're there for the movie. If they like the movie, they let you know. And if they don't like the movie, you can tell. People just aren't paying attention. They're reading they'll read a book with a flashlight, in the middle of it. They'll yell at the screen. Extraordinary film, movie-going experiences. And I never ever once, not a single time, and all the times we would go to movies there, or frankly, even into downtown LA, into the dollar theaters, when we were surrounded by homeless people and just people of all walks of life, but mostly the downtown LA Skid Row crowd, mostly, never once felt, in any kind of danger for my life. We're all just there to see a movie together. And it seems like somewhere along the way, whoever is in charge is believing that we have to kind of focus to a very, very specific audience. And I just think that's kind of an unsuccessful marketing strategy above everything. Like, you want to make a movie for everyone. Obviously, not everyone's going to get into it. Like, not everybody is going to get into, I don't know, the rules of attraction, or, any Train Dreams. Not everybody's going to vibe on that film. Yeah. But you make a movie and you're trying to make it for a general audience, for an audience that is composed of, the vast majority, because what you're trying to do, on one hand, you're trying to get your message out there and you're trying to tell a good, satisfying story, but you're also trying to make money. And so why would you limit, your audience in any kind of way? And it feels like that there's an active movement to do that.
For me, it was the Adams Theater in downtown Detroit, where I grew up. I know
that theater. I've been to that theater. Yeah.
Yeah. It was in Detroit. And I saw, what I said, Dawn of the Dead. I saw an early screening of it, and the crowd went nuts.
Yeah. By the way, that is a general audience movie. I mean, you have to kind of like horror and everything, but that movie is for everybody. Loves that movie that went and saw that movie. If you,
I gotta say, you and I grew up in the same area at the same time. I saw all 3 Star Wars movies at the bowling alley by the Galleria.
Yeah.
And I've been to Old Town. I've been to Del Amo too many times. But to your point, there's this idea that people.
Yeah, I grew up on Anza and 120th.
Yeah, and then I used to. There was one in Lomita, a theater that I lived like a mile from there, and so I would walk to that theater all the time. But to your point, it was it seems like filmmakers today they think that you can only connect with the movie when you see someone who looks like you, when the reality is you connect with the movie when you can when you share the same experience of what's happening in the movie. And to me, that's always been what storytelling is creating an experience that we can all relate to, and then allowing us to kind of put ourselves in the shoes of the characters on screen. And it's a shame, because I think romance is starting to suffer from that, because I don't know what it is, but I feel like that they're trying to remove romance from movie genres, because we're just not getting as many as we used to.
Yeah, well, perhaps it's an active depopulation protocol that's been put into place.
Yep.
Yeah, we noticed this trend of foreheads touching in movies. There'll be a great moment where characters might kiss. It's cliche, yes, but in the Mad Max movie with Anya Taylor-Joy, they bump foreheads rather than have a passionate kiss. So
and why would that ever be a bad thing? I mean, I believe that human beings are inherently good, and that the vast majority of people in the world are inherently good and want good for other people. It's just my worldview. I believe that when people go to movies, they want to see the hero. I've long explored the anti-hero in films, and as I've grown older, and kind of examined, how people pattern off of movies that they see, I've started to kind of alter the kind of movies that I want to make. And look, revenge and wrath, that is the bread and butter of cinema. But and you can be like a young filmmaker and make a movie about revenge, and it can be salacious and everything, and kind of and fire the endorphins, and the serotonin levels jump as a result of it, and you get called a master for making this. But a real master makes a movie about forgiveness. It's really, really difficult to do. And so, for example, there was a movie that came out, and if I said this on Rogan, just stop me. I can't remember half of what I said. But there was a movie that came out, these two movies that came out same year. And the first one was about a guy. He's in an alien environment. He's in nature, being attacked by nature. And he's doing everything he can to get back to civilization. And his motivation is revenge. And that movie was The Revenant. Well, there was another movie that very same year that came out about a guy in an alien environment. Nature is trying to kill him, and he's doing everything he can to try to get back to civilization, and his motivation is for forgiveness. And that movie was The Martian. And we can see that they're basically thematically the exact same film, but with different motivators for the protagonists. And the one that got pushed really heavily in the Academy Award season, which I think is kind of a fake spectacle, to be honest, but they got pushed really heavily into the Academy Award season, was The Revenant. And that's the one that everybody thought of as the better movie. But in fact, The Martian is a way more difficult movie to do. And Ridley Scott doesn't get enough credit for the very delicate balancing act of making that film, especially in the face of The Martian. I mean, in the face of The Revenant. And so, it just kind of shows that, I don't know. I think you almost have to be at Ridley Scott's level to be able to approach a movie like that and to be delicate enough with it to tell a story about forgiveness. Actually, that's not even true. I think that TV show, The Chosen, every episode is directed by this guy, Dallas Jenkins, and he's essentially weekly making a show that is constantly about forgiveness. I mean, it's the Gospels, and so it's easier to do perhaps, but I think he's doing an amazing directorial job, and watching him evolve as a filmmaker over the course of, because he's directing every single episode, which the Pharisees of Hollywood will tell you is verboten. You're not allowed to do that, but he's showing that you can do it and that you can do it successfully. That's what I think is the most interesting thing.
I was going to say, it's interesting, the aversion to Christian themes such as forgiveness, grace, love, humility. These are things that it just seems like Hollywood does not want to tell in their stories anymore.
Well, people are conflating Christian themes with religious institutions, and that's where the problem happens. I mean, I think that Christian themes are the natural state of humanity. That actually is when that those teachings are actually our base state. That I believe babies are born, pure and innocent and good. And that it is only through, miseducation that people become lost to that purity.
Yeah. Look at Return of the Jedi. You brought that up. Very Christian.
For sure.
The ending. Now, I noticed you're wearing a General Cinema Dynamics shirt.
Yeah.
Your new company, which you only touched on briefly. I think.
I almost forgot to talk about it. I was so excited with everything else.
Yeah, at the last minute near the end, I was like, so I want to get into it more here. I think we're going through what people will look back on this era of filmmaking, or this era of Hollywood, of just some terrible movies. I think, whether you agree or not, I think the Star Wars sequels, I think did not deliver. I think every major franchise has been destroyed beyond recognition for some. We'll see. And
the classic players have been failing at what they do best.
Yeah, they should be good at these things. Why are they? I think there are many reasons. I think where the money goes, I think part of it is we have an executive class at the studios that don't even like movies, mainly coming from the tech world. They don't get what movies really are. We don't have visionary producers that stand up for certain kind. There are fewer, let's say fewer, not say they don't exist.
I would actually say that they're not coming from the tech world. They're coming from the finance world.
Yeah.
And that it's a different kind of mentality of what they're doing and what they're making. And I think they feel like, they're making products that people just generally don't want. And I think we see this not just in movies. We see this, like, my iPhone has progressively gotten worse over time. And actually, we talked about the downgrading to earlier.
Oh, I love that.
Downgrading to earlier skeuomorphic, user interfaces, which seem to work better in the past. And so, why do things get worse? And the real question is, why change something when it works? Why really try to reinvent the wheel when something works? Everybody's flipped out and freaked out by AI. Just the word itself, artificial intelligence, is a threatening concept, I guess. But I don't look at it that way. I look at this as one of the greatest democratizing tools in cinema technology since the advent of digital, for film. And a kid being able to grab a video camera and go out, a guy like Joe Swanberg, for example, who was on my forums way back in the 90s. He went out and he just grabbed a video camera. And I remember him we don't need all the technology, and those Dogma 95 guys, same thing. Let's strip it away. A movie is visual storytelling, and they would just take a consumer level camera and go out and make their movie. And if you did it it's not really that much different than what John Cassavetes was doing when he would take cameras and go out and with his friends essentially do these kind of what some people in Hollywood would have viewed as very rough, very technically frayed at the edges kind of movies. But he was stripping away all of the artifice of Hollywood at that time and looking for purity. Now, digital is now every movie is almost shot digital. You have people who are able, like Paul Thomas Anderson, for example, to go out and shoot, I think, was it 65 or 70 millimeter film, and make his story that way. But that is very few and far between. My daughter right now is producing a movie on 16 millimeter that's being shot in New Jersey. And so it's not, I look at it like it's paint. There are oil paints and there are watercolor paints. And even though oil and watercolor are diametrically opposed to each other as oil and water, they are both still paint, and both of them make paintings. And you could use the correct medium for the style that you're looking for. And I look at AI as merely a tool that's putting a certain kind of ability into the hands of people who wouldn't normally have it. And all of a sudden you're able to do all sorts of crazy effects and everything. I think it's going to chill out a little, over time. I mean, look, if you looked at, people call AI slop, but if you were a theater guy when film was being invented, you would maybe go look at the Lumiere brothers, and see, people getting off the train or workers going to the factory. They would just set up a camera and just shoot people getting off a train. And people in theater at that time were like, "Oh, this is like just garbage art. It's nothing. It's there's nothing there." When silent movies became sound films, there was this big revolution among people who were like, "Oh, the talkies are just like nonsense compared to how pure the silent films are." And then when color came around, everybody was like talking about the difference between the beautiful contrasts of black and white and what black and white is and how pure it is versus the garishness of color. And then when widescreen suddenly came out, and they started like using it as a sensationary tool, everybody was like, "No, 4:3, that's the golden ratio, perfect form, and you're taking away from the beauty of the full image." It's like film. The AI is not replacing film. AI is part of the story of visual storytelling, as it that is now over 100 years old and beyond. when movies came out, it didn't destroy theater. In fact, it still hasn't destroyed theater. People still go to theater for the theater experience, which is a very unique thing. Film is still getting made, even though digital is become a tool mostly for ease of production and exhibition. And the same is going to be true with AI. It's not going to change anything. You're still going to have conventional shot movies made. You're going to still have chemically processed films made. You're still going to have digital films made. Television didn't destroy the movies. People will get their entertainment wherever they get it, as long as you're telling a good story, as long as you're entertaining the audience, as long as you're reaching out to the widest audience that you can and respecting them as an audience, as a paying audience that's coming to see your movie. I had a little movie that I released because I became, for a while, I was experimenting in theatrical exhibition. And so I found this little film that was shot by students at the New Road School, I think it was called. A friend of mine is a French filmmaker, Frederic Daw. And he's a very brilliant filmmaker. And he was teaching a film class at the school in Santa Monica. And he gave all of his students iPhones. And then he gave them kind of assignments, like, I want you to go out and shoot this scene. And I want you to go out and shoot this scene. And you're doing this and you're doing this. And he kind of let them go out and do it in a very free-form style. And Laura Dern's daughter is in it, Jaya Harper, and among other students at the school. And we made this little movie. They made this little movie called Teenage Emotions. Okay, nobody wanted to exhibit teenage emotions, and it was kind of falling between the cracks. And I said, well, let me see what I can do. And so I rounded up a couple of theaters, around, and like, for example, there's a really great multiplex owned by Galaxy Theaters. Actually, Galaxy Theaters became my partner at that time. And we showed it there. We showed it in Mission Hills. We showed it at a number of cinemas. And I made DCPs from it. I blew them up onto the big screen, and audiences would come. People would go to the movies, and they would watch this movie shot on an iPhone that was sort of a free-form video experiment of kids and how they were as they were in the moments just before the pandemic hit. And so it was kind of this very pure idea of what teenage emotions are like at that time. And so we played this film, and audiences came, and they went and they watched the movie, and they don't care how it was made. What they cared about was, I'm connecting with the emotions on screen. And that's all you have to do, is just respect your audience in that way, and people will come. They don't care how you made it. They just want purity on screen. And the studios have stopped doing this. And so I looked at that, and I looked at like my own career and the difficulty, how many years it takes me to try to convince people to get a movie going. And then when I make it, it's an unfruitful, it's like I'm usually putting all of my own money back into the film just to get it made. And it's such a difficult process. I don't think AI is going to take away any jobs, except for the cock blockers in Hollywood. Those people are going to be out of a job. The people who are in charge of the velvet rope that hold you out, they're going to lose their jobs. Those executives that are sitting around paralyzed because they don't want to make a decision, because they're getting paid, $600,000 a year, to basically sit in a beautiful office and say no to people. And they mostly will say no, because if they say yes and it fails, they might lose their job. And this mindset has frozen Hollywood. Hollywood is like a deer in the headlights. Mm-hmm. And so those people, they're going to be the ones that lose their job. It's the executive class that is going to suffer, not the artist class. And so I look at AI and I think this is just another tool. We can use this, and it's available to everyone. And you can use this tool. You can generally augment, and footage is a really, really solid way to go. And I know that by experience because I made Beowulf at the same time Zack Snyder did 300. And look, I think Zack Snyder's film is a better movie ultimately, because he had human beings blended in with his computerized world that he was doing. And we went completely pure. And so it's just a tool. It's part of your toolbox. that you can use. And I think this is I think one of the most exciting moments in cinema history because of the democratization of the tools. And so we're going to see filmmakers springing up out of nowhere, making brilliant things. And by the way, everybody criticizes AI and calls it slop, or thinks that it always aims for the middle. But I've never seen a cat driving an off-road vehicle desperately trying to hold on where a dog is in the passenger seat, like barking crazily. Or that fight with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt over Jeffrey Epstein. He was a good man. That's really funny. That's really funny. And in fact, and I felt, I must say, a kind of emotion when Anakin Skywalker and Padma or whatever, Natalie Portman, are sitting there in a field and they're talking about, hey, we got to build all these data centers. And she's like, oh, for AI. And he's like, oh, because we're going to, cure cancer, right? Right? We're curing cancer, right? And they back up and she's just got these giant boobs. That was really funny. And Anakin's look to her, his kind of melancholic, knowing look that he gives her, was really an intense performance moment. And so these are just little clips that people are making for fun, and maybe they're even being auto-generated by C-Dance or that model. But it gives me great hope, actually. That cat, I would watch an entire movie of that cat driving that off-road vehicle. That was as good as Sorcerer, the William Friedkin film. Like, that was as intense. I watched that like 100 times. I was like laughing the entire time.
But I gotta say, we talk about AI a lot on this channel. Even like we were talking Star Trek earlier, there is a YouTube channel dedicated to doing Starfleet Academy. Yeah. Those videos, if they had made that show,
that's what we all wanted. That's what we wanted, is what they're doing. And they're just basically saying, look, we know what the audience wants. And since they're not giving it to them, we're going to give it to them. Yeah. Okay, that means the system is broken. If the gates have fallen, the castle of Hollywood is being stormed right now. The mongrel horde is coming in. They're taking over. They're beheading the executives. It's they should be concerned. And maybe this will be the wake-up call. Maybe this will be the moment that Hollywood kind of reads the room and says, you know what, maybe we should be making what people want, and not thinking that we're, Pharaoh sees himself as God. I will tell you what you like. Maybe they should just serve the audience.
Well, there have been some amazing AI filmmakers we've talked about on this show. The Door Brothers. Have you seen Damon Packard? I don't know if you're aware of Damon.
Oh, yes, I have. I have seen his work. Yeah,
there are some really. These aren't just. Partially parodies in some cases, but really creatively using the AI. I believe AI, because Alan has actually reviewed full AI features on Film Threat. They're not there yet, but I believe AI it'll end up being a category like anime. It'll be bigger, and then it'll allow an indie filmmaker to make a movie that looks like it was made for hundreds of millions of dollars using AI to do effects. And you've got
and that's why Guillermo del Toro is afraid. That's why he's like, fuck AI. Listen, I love Guillermo. He's full of good spirit and everything, but he likes to have his full, burrito platter. He wants to have everything. He wants the whole thing, and he wants to have, and God love him. He's got these artisans working for him, and they're brilliant and everything, but nobody's going to take that away from him. He is like, he will always be able to do what he's doing. And so, but what he's doing by saying fuck AI is he's actually limiting somebody else and he says it's theft and that it's like it's been trained on, other people's work. Well, you show me anybody who isn't trained on somebody else's work. Stanley Kubrick was trained on Fritz Lang's work. Everybody is trained on Fritz. I was trained on Stanley Kubrick's work, and John Borman and Ken Russell and Roman Polanski and all these guys, like all these filmmakers of the time when I grew up. I look to them like cinematic forefathers. And when you're first becoming a filmmaker early on, you copy your parents to learn how to be. And then eventually you walk on your own. And so, and there's a lot of design work. In our company, we're hiring cinematographers, we hire writers, we hire editors, we hire actors. Like, it's not like people are coming out of work. It's just, we're actually generating work for people, for an entire class of creative artists who have become disenfranchised by the system and are unemployed as a result.
How much AI how much of the movie is AI? Is it 100% or is it,
it depends on everything, on every individual project is the answer to that. Every movie is its own puzzle to figure out. And that's not changed. That's sort of like, these days there's so much green screen work being done because California and other states have made it so difficult for films to go out and shoot on location. And so you'll see some movie that's a chamber piece about people talking, and they can't afford to go, shoot in a parking lot somewhere with the city backdrop. They have to do it like on a backlot or something because it's more controllable, because they don't have to pay the permitting and the fire department and blah, 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 blah. All of the crap that has gotten in the way of the filmmaking process. I've made movies in France. I made a film called La Voix Humaine. And when I was in France working, it was like, okay, we had a permit to shoot on this side of the street and we were shooting there, but I looked over and like the light was better on the other side of the street. Okay, in the United States, that would have been impossible. In Canada, impossible. Oh, we don't own that. We can't go there. In France, we just all picked up our equipment and ran across the street and shot across the street. And that is somehow gone. The unions have become burdensome on production. It's, as usual, bureaucracy is what is grinding it all to a halt. It's not for the want of somebody to express themselves creatively. That is now more than ever. There are so many people out there who are just dying to get their ideas on screen. And now it's possible to do.
We've got over 1,000 people watching live. We have questions from our audience. I still have a lot more, but we'll see what we can get to. But Alan, could you do this? Because to quote your Oscar acceptance speech, I really have to pee.
Yeah, go off and do it. Do what I was unable to do.
I'll be right back. But Alan, start from the top and get the soups in there. Let's do this.
And give an acceptance speech while you're peeing.
I'll be right back.
I want to dedicate this pee to the studios.
All right. Well, Matthew Hammond asked, why do many execs at major studios not like watching movies and television and instead are risk averse, paint by numbers and ideology, MBAs and finance guys?
I think it's just part of, look, I think I said earlier that I believe in individuals. I think individuals are inherently good, and I could be friends with anyone, anybody. I was incarcerated, and when I met like somebody, it didn't matter who they were, what gang affiliation they had, it didn't matter what color they were. I could become friends with them. The minute there were like 3 people, 10 people, a mob, a corporation, a group, suddenly the individuals stop behaving like individuals and they start behaving like a mob. And there's something that happens, and I don't know enough about corporate culture, but I suspect that it's something to do with corporate culture and self-preservation inside of the corporate system that causes these people's natural behavior to change. Mm-hmm. And I suspect that that's what it is.
Hey, I felt that way with Michael Eisner. I mean, when he came to Disney, he was creative. He had all these ideas. He had people around him. And by the end of his reign as CEO, it felt like he was protecting his stock value.
There's also something to be said for people who become jaded and nihilistic about where they are and what they're doing. You do something. I'll tell you, agents and studio executives and people like that, they see more movies than I do. They're able to go see movies constantly And so they're having screenings constantly, and they're seeing movies, and they're going to parties, and they're enjoying that life way more than any creative. And at a certain point, you just start because you go to one of these private screenings that's put on by an agency or something like that, and afterwards you watch everybody, they're all blowing smoke up the filmmaker's ass, and how much did you make that for? Well, it's all on screen. And they're all just kind of because they don't want to say, and they never say what they really feel. They always go off into a little group, their little golfing group, either cabal, and then they start shit talking. I remember when The Fifth Element came out, I got invited, and me and John Woo went to it together, and we saw it at the Village, and it was the premiere night. And so I very rarely go to premieres or studio screenings or agency screenings, but this was one I went to because John invited me, and so I went, and we see the movie, and afterwards I went out, and Luc Besson was standing there kind of alone and sort of confused, and I went over by these agents and stood near them, and they were all shit talking him.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like a clique of bad girls in high school, and not, they were girls. They were all it was a mixed group, but I use bad girls as a sort of like a bunch of cheerleaders. No, it's not even right to besmirch cheerleaders. Don't want to upset Charlie Sheen. It was and it was like, you go to these screenings and people lie to you about what they think about your movie. And then they go off and they shit talk you. And you do enough of that, and I think it just rots your soul. And so when I go to movies, I very rarely go to any kind of screening that's a Hollywood screening. I go to my local movie theater. I sit down with a paying audience, and then you really feel immediately, does this audience like this movie or not like this movie? Are they laughing? Are they enjoying? Do they applaud when the hero does something, saves their loved ones or saves the world or whatever? You feel the truth of a movie in that environment. So you do enough of it, and then they're going to parties constantly. And I think just after a while, it just deadens the soul a little bit. Just being in that Hollywood bubble. Because I don't experience that when I'm, working in France, and when I'm, the executives in France are completely different lot. It's like it's completely a different scene when you go to a premiere there. It's strange.
Chris, we got one question, so there you
go. Only 20 more questions. Don't worry, we'll get to them. Here we go.
I'll try to answer faster.
Yeah. Let's see. Matthew Hammond asks, would Roger Avary run a major studio if asked?
Well, I consider my company a major studio, is the answer to that. We said we're making 3 movies this year. What we didn't say is that our business plan is 3 movies this year, 6 movies next year, and 12 movies the year after. Mm-hmm. And so, we have a 3-year, we're scaling over 3 years, and we're building a pipeline, and we're going to be making all number of movies, and every movie is meant to be an audience, a movie that considers the audience. And I think that's what people want right now, and it's what I want to do. And I look at this as a kind of, look, I was sitting around and trying to figure out, God, what am I going to do? Do I start a different career entirely? I'm unable to do everything. And then this opportunity came around, and my company was coming into formation. And then I met Reza Sefai, who is the guy who produced A Woman Walks Alone at Night. And so he's like an indie guy from, the indie scene. And we got together and we totally clicked. And he has this company, Massive Studios, that was also on a track. And so we joined forces and pooled all of our resources. And so I look at what I'm doing as already it's a major studio. It's not about being, a big studio with walled gates or anything like that. It's just about having the passion to make something for someone else that will hopefully, make them laugh, make them cry, make them feel. I mean, we are in Depression era times. And the movie theaters, and by the way, we're making movies for movie theaters. I'm not making movies for streaming. I'm not looking at, ultimately everything will find its way there, but we've worked out with our theater partners long-term exhibition, like beyond 45 days. And so in order to give a movie a chance, when my movie came out, my last couple films, actually most of my movies, they would come out, they would be in and out of theaters in a week. And that wasn't because people didn't have an opportunity to discover the film. But our research showed that, if a movie is resident in a theater for a longer period of time, the audience will discover it. And so the neighborhood, so to speak, will suddenly realize, hey, there's this other thing there. Let's go see it. And I discovered that with Teenage Emotions. And so that's become part of our business strategy. And so I look at I don't need to be in a major studio. I have a major mission. And that's enough for me.
But also other peers of yours who came from indie, like Robert Rodriguez, Eli Roth, have started their own ventures. I love this. I love this idea.
Yeah, Eli and I are, and I'm sure that at some point our paths will connect in this world. Eli and I are really good friends. We're both, in fact, I'm about to leave for Atlanta next weekend. I'm doing Days of the Dead, Atlanta, and with Eli and with Tom Savini and all those guys. Everyone is doing it. I'm getting calls from ever since the Rogan episode, I'm getting calls from every single, filmmaker and producer that I've known my entire career. And they're all like, oh my God, I'm doing this too. And I'm doing this too. And everybody's kind of all in. That doesn't sound like it's killing the industry. That sounds to me like it's, kind of just becoming yet another paintbrush in the toolbox. And there are movies that are being made by friends of mine and their filmmaker friends that people wouldn't think are full of AI, but are full of AI. And I don't want to name names, but you can imagine who my friends are. So yeah. And by the way, I'm also not giving up on chemical filmmaking. I have a movie that I'm working on right now, and I'm working on the script for. That is a new project that I'm writing with my son. And we plan on making that. We're shooting that one. I plan on shooting it on 16 millimeter because I'm seeking a kind of authenticity that only film can deliver. And maybe there will be some augmentation, but it's not really required of the movie. But just because there's AI cinema doesn't mean that there's not traditional cinema or digital cinema as well.
I really feel this kind of reminds me of the moment in the early 70s when the studios were so out of touch, and this young group of young filmmakers at that time came and kind of took over the industry. They're all very independent minded. Here we are living in a time when the studios are so corporate, the content is corporate, and I believe a new indie film revolution is on the horizon.
Exactly. Like, in those days, they thought, well, you can't leave the studio lot. You've got to shoot your movie on the lot. And cameras are like Mitchell BNCRs, so these giant cast iron cameras that, I own one. It's really difficult to move it around. And I would even shoot a movie with that, but it forces a certain kind of ethic. And it's just a lot easier to work on the lot. And so most movies were made on the lot. And all of a sudden, because of World War II, this little company, Aeroflex, was making very, very silent cameras because it was a camera designed for wartime. And so they were making these very silent cameras, and they're small, and you were able to take an Arri 2C and go out and make a movie on the streets with actors. That's what John Cassavetes and any number of those young filmmakers, Coppola, all of them. And, Coppola's first film, Finian's Rainbow, that was studio film. And then what did he do right after that? But the Rain People with James Caan, where he went on the road with a camera and a very light crew and with all these tools that just weren't available, to anybody else. I actually said Finian's Rainbow was his first film. Dementia 13 is his first film. After that was Finian's Rainbow.
We've got a lot more questions. Let's see how many we can get through here.
Yes, from Dave D. Roger, met you in Chicago in November. We talked about a few things, but Day of the Dead commentary is on my Blu-ray, and I listened to it. You talked about the fourth movie not filmed. What do you think of Lord of the Dead?
Land of the Dead.
Land of the Dead.
Land of the Dead. Land of the Dead. I am not. Listen, I am I adore the work of George Romero. Love it. But I am not a fan of Land of the Dead. It suffers from a kind of Canadian production thing going on, like and he violates everything, like the themes that he speaks about in Dawn of the Dead about money. He completely throws that away, and all of a sudden the whole thing becomes about money. And I know that I just don't like the movie, But having said that, it is frequent that I don't like a movie and then I watch it again with new eyes after some time has passed, and I'm able to see what I didn't see the first time. And so I will, my friend, Dave, that's right, Dave from Days of the Dead in Chicago. I'll give it a try. I'll watch it again. I wish it had been called, what was it called? Dead Revenant originally. That was the original title.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the name of the big vehicle that they drive around in. So,
all right, Pepsi Man 666. Aside from Konosuba, can you ask Roger for another anime that he has enjoyed? I think he'd like Golga 13, City Hunter, or Space Adventure Cobra.
Yeah, actually, I haven't seen Space Adventure Cobra, but Golga I have seen, and I will see that one. Yeah, I mean, there's almost not enough time in life to be able to absorb all that great work that's being done out there. What happened with Konosuba, for those who don't know, is my daughter said, "Hey, I want to go see this movie. It's only being shown for one night on it's a Phantom Events thing where they kind of live beamed in. It was connected to a film festival that was happening in Tokyo at the time, and they're showing this movie Konosuba." And so I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go." And so we go to our theater, we sit down, and I'm always there early, and so I get a good seat. And then the audience started coming in, and it was like all of Middle Earth started coming into the theater. It was like, all the hobbits and the ogres, and everybody kind of filled up the theater. And it was like the uber fans of Konosuba, which I hadn't realized has a massive kind of following. Okay, I haven't had a theater experience like that since The Empire Strikes Back, the premiere of The Empire Strikes Back at the Egyptian Theater when it opened, the night it opened, which was maybe the best experience I've ever had in a movie theater, because everyone was there for the same reason. And this movie was like a kind of, I think the statement I made was, Konosuba is the reason that cinema was invented. I think that's kind of was my take on it. It is such a visual experience, and it is such a wild, intense, beautifully constructed dream film. And everybody there was so into it. The electricity of the audience, the energy of the audience. Up until then, I was kind of thinking, the theater experience is it was just after COVID. The theater experience is kind of over. That's when I realized, no, the theater experience is here, and Phantom found a way to pull everybody in who wanted to see it, and everybody was there who wanted to see it, and the energy in the audience was just explosive. And I'm a big Mega Man fan now, and I really love it. In fact, speaking of anime, I have this friend Adi who's a producer, and he does this show Devil May Cry. And so I actually called him up and said, "Hey, can I write an episode of that? Because I really like it's a series on Netflix, and so I'd really like to write an episode of it." So my daughter and I are actually right now writing an episode for the next season.
Amazing. More here.
Okay, from Fooish American for 2, he says, "Hello, Raja Avary."
Hello.
Doom Lemons for 199. I would love to see Avary on Versus on our Monday show.
What happens there?
It's a group panel show. There's like between 5 or 8 of us, and then we just debate topics. You'd fit right.
That
in.
sounds great.
Yeah.
Call me.
Okay, I got your number. Here we go.
Yeah, right now we're all going through Starfleet Academy. Coach B Films for 10. Roger, what are your thoughts on pursuing a career in writing / directing now compared to when you started? How would you approach it now? A fellow Manitobian.
Hey, Manitoba. It's the same as it was then. The advice that I give everybody coming in are what I call my 3 Ps. The first one is you have to approach, with passion. You come into this business and you've got to show your passion. It excites other people. When you're passionate about something and when you're exuding passion, it reminds those jaded executives who have kind of lost their passion. It reminds them why we're in this business and what we're here for. That at one point we were all just like kids looking at the movies and like looking at the flicker on the screen with wonder, and that's why we're here. And so bring the passion in what you're doing, and and let it explode out of you, and you use that as a way to activate other people around you, because believe it or not, everybody else wants to be passionate. They want to be excited, and if they feel the excitement from you, it's infectious, and pretty soon you'll have a circle of people that are all excited, and if you can align that vision together, you're unstoppable. You're absolutely unstoppable. The second P is positive visualization. So there's a lot of dark times, and even when you're not feeling passionate, sometimes you have to fake it. There's a lot of dark times in Hollywood, and most people, when they enter into like a dark tunnel that leads supposedly to another end, when it gets dark around them and they lose the entrance in the darkness and they're walking through the dark, it's like you have to positively, what a better example is a pitcher who throws a ball. You see where the ball is going to land. You believe that the ball is going to land there. You focus on it and you visualize into the future. My wife and I, we're constantly going on a walk, every day, and we visualize, what do we want? Where do we want to be? What's going to happen in the middle during that journey? And sometimes you have to kind of veer your visualization as you're moving towards your end goal. Like, let's say your end goal is making a movie. You see the movie done, you visualize it being done, and you use my second thing, which is called spec theory, which is you select it, expect it. Select it, project it, expect it, and then collect it. And you use those 4 things, and every day you just visualize where you're going to be. You visualize it. You see the ball landing in the mitt. Okay, you still have to walk the journey to get there, but you have to see where you're going. Whenever I write a script, I generally write the end first. Like, I always know what the ending is, and then the rest of it is just getting there to that ending and finding my way there. And so you've got to positively visualize. And the last one, and maybe the most important one, is persistence, because it gets, like I said, it gets dark in Hollywood, and you have to be persistent. It's not the talented that make it in Hollywood. It helps to have talent, but it's the persistent that make it. There's a lot of talentless people making really good livings in Hollywood just because they're more persistent than anybody else. You cannot give up. You have to be like, you're landing at Dunkirk. They're dropping you off. The boats are going away. There is only one way forward. Take the anthill. And so you have to and you've got to do it persistently. There is no freezing on the beach because bullets are coming at you. Move forward and make it so. And so persistence, positive visualization, and passion. Those are the 3 elements. And with those, and it's not even movies, you can use that for everything in life. That you're doing. And if you utilize those elements, you'll find your dream. And it may take a while. Everything takes time. But as long as you're walking the path, you will eventually arrive at your destination.
Alex Kurtzman is very persistent. He does. It's not good, but he's very.
But he visualized it and he got it.
I probably trashed him a little too much. I had a little too much glee in doing it. I had a little bit of a bone to pick with that guy. Listen, I'm sure he's a very pleasant fellow to hang out with, even though he doesn't look like it. I'm sure he's a very, very pleasant fellow to hang out with. I'm sure, and I haven't watched Hawaii. He did Hawaii 5-0, right? And I have a friend, Mark Dacascos, who was on that show, and I'm sure Mark would have good things to say about him. And so,
sorry, we've said
I have a friend of mine, Mark Pellington, a friend of mine.
Mark is a dear friend of mine. Yeah.
He directed an episode from season 2 of Starfleet Academy. I worked on a project with Mark that's at Slam Dance this weekend called This Is Buzz. Remember the Buzz TV show from MTV in the 90s?
Yeah. That was Mark's thing. And in fact, Tom and Andy, the guys who do all the scores for all my movies, they were the ones who did all the interstitials for MTV and Buzz.
Buzz is so great. So I bugged Mark years ago. I said, you have to make a doc on the TV show. It was groundbreaking. And he gave me an EP credit. I'm in the doc. I barely did anything. If you're an exec producer, they don't always do very much, but I always support anyone who's a real.
Listen, I think Mark is one of the most interesting filmmakers out there, and his movies are they're always super personal. Like he's always making these very intimate films where he's bearing his soul on screen. But he's also a commercial director and music video director, and so I'm sure when he went to Starfleet Academy, there's only so much you can do as a visiting director. I'm sure whatever he did improved it. Incrementally.
Yeah,
it's sold out. Can you get me a ticket? Saint Simran for 499. Roger, when are you and Tarantino co-writing and directing a Conan the Barbarian movie based on Robert E. Howard's stories? It would be killer. This is Tarantino's last movie.
Okay, what I would like to do, and I will take you up on that. I'll in a second, if when next I talk to Quentin, I'll suggest it. Conan the King is what we've seen Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Warrior, but and even Schwarzenegger is like right for it. I worked with John Milius. My daughter and I worked with John Milius on his Genghis Khan script, turning it into a mini series, and it hasn't been produced, but that was effectively doing Conan the King, because Genghis Khan, it basically is Conan. It's his way of doing Conan, and Conan was like a terrorist. He was like a murderer, a warrior. Killed people in the most horrible of ways. He would sew them up in felt and light it on fire, or throw it into the river or whatever. He was like, a nightmare, a scourge. But he also created paper money, and he created the Silk Road, and he unified the warring factions at that time in China. Although I use the name Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan actually isn't a name. It just means great king. His name was Temujin. And so Temujin was the one who united all of the factions and everything. And while writing that script, you basically, it's one thing to win a kingdom. It's another thing to hold it. And listen, Robert E. Howard is one of the greatest writers of all time. So that would be a dream project. And I know that Quentin feels the same way about it. But I wouldn't hold your breath, but I'm game. I would do it.
Look, if you look right there, breaking news at the bottom, scrolling around, it just says Avary and Tarantino making Conan the King.
He found his final movie.
You can make news. You can just make it up. I learned that from CNN. You can just make stuff up. And it's
if you
can just make it up.
Right.
Just
you report it, it has to be true.
Listen, frankly, with AI, you could actually make you could go to the Frazetta estate and work with them, and you could make a Frazetta live action in the style of Fire and Ice Conan the King movie. And you could hire actors and do performance capture the way we're doing. And, you could actually make a Frazetta painting come to life now. And we've never had the opportunity to do that before. And you can do it, when in the right hands. And listen, these things still cost, time and money and energy, and you still have to wrestle with the AI. Working with AI doesn't mean that it's just easy. You're like, you just click it in and just out it comes. Yeah. There is a little bit of that, but if I give a camera to an actor and they go, and I say, oh, go shoot this, and they go off and do it. I don't know what they're going to do. It comes back all different and like wrong, or you have to like still direct. You still have to have discipline, and you still have to it's making the same mistakes a person would make, and it behaves like like it just does what it wants sometimes. And so you frequently have this on a movie set where you have somebody who thinks that they know what they're doing, and they're making the movie in their head. They're not making the movie in your head. And that's where the director comes in. And so as people learn how to direct AI and how to direct in general, and I think part of this is not, it's these young filmmakers who are working with AI. They need to go start watching like movies by Douglas Sirk and learning film language and film vocabulary. And how a camera moves and what eye lines are, and they need to start learning what the toolbox is, uniting people and dividing them in frames, using architecture as a way to frame or separate characters, visually, using color in ways that invoke emotion. When you watch the movies of Douglas Sirk, it's an education in this. And so as people, my hope is that as these young filmmakers start working with the tools and realizing that they can do something with it, that they're going to look to their cinematic forefathers to learn how movies, flow, and and the value of long form entertainment.
A real quick comment. Snakes and Funerals says cinema is dead. Long live cinema. Thank you, Snakes.
And they've said that many times. That's an astute statement to make. This is just another chapter in the story of cinema. In no time, what was his name? Mark Cousins, who did that documentary on the history of cinema. Is that his name?
Yeah.
He did this amazing documentary, and he was kind enough to include Rules of Attraction in it. And he follows the progress and development of how cinema has evolved over time in phrases and gone through changes and met with struggles. But at the end of the day, it's all just visual storytelling.
Yeah, I love that montage at the end of Damien Chazelle's Babylon, where it's just I mean, it's controversial. I loved it. I thought it was great.
No, it was all the stuff before it that was.
Yeah. Fuck Google says, thank you, Mr. Avary, for your interview.
Thank you.
And Jimmy Francis said, this is one of the great Film Thread interviews. We have a question here, Alan, if you'd take it.
Yes. From Raptor. Can you tell us anything about Wolfenstein movie that you were working on?
Yeah. Yes, I can. I may as well. I was I'm a video game guy, as you can tell. And so Castle Wolfenstein, and first Wolfenstein, the John Romero Wolfenstein that was on the Apple II. I was big into that. And then I followed the Wolfenstein, saga up through Wolfenstein 3D, and then ultimately returned to Castle Wolfenstein. And I had a moment where I was invited to, I think Todd Hollinshead invited me to QuakeCon, and I was like, well, good, because I have something to pitch you. And so I went there and I sat with him in a hotel room and pitched him my idea for Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which was, well, maybe I won't tell you the full pitch because maybe I'll recycle it. Suffice it to say, I went ahead and got he got really excited. They basically said, okay, well, we'll sell you the rights. And I didn't have the money. I just didn't have the money to buy it. So I went to Samuel Hadida, who produced Silent Hill, and I said, listen, I need you to pick up the rights on this for me. He picked up the rights. We developed the script. I developed 4 scripts, 4 drafts of the script. And Sammy just he just never really was there 100% for it. I mean, he's dead now, so not trying to besmirch his name or anything, but he was just not I think a movie called Iron Sky came out, and that distracted him. And he was like, well, look, they made Iron Sky. He's French. They make Iron Sky for $2 million. You want to make Wolfenstein for $2 million. I was like, dude, this is not possible. I don't know how to make that movie for that much. I mean, maybe now you could. But back then it was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And so I wrote it, I storyboarded it. I went into great detail. You know what? Maybe I'm going to this Days of the Dead in Atlanta. Maybe I'll bring with me my storyboards and sell them because I had, storyboard artists, storyboard the movie for me. And so I had all these inventive ideas. It was basically, the Wolfenstein game, except I incorporated Mecha Hitler because you have to have Mecha Hitler. Yeah. I deviated from the storyline of Return to Castle Wolfenstein a little bit because what I really wanted to do was to adapt Wolfenstein 3D. And then I also took from this movie that I'm unable to find anymore. It's like not available, called Welcome in Berlin. And this was a movie I saw in Los Angeles in the 80s. And it was part of a trilogy of films. And it was about the guys at id Software, they gave me a list and they said, these are the only thing we're going to ask you is that you follow this list of requirements. BJ Blazkowicz must be from Mesquite, Texas. BJ Blazkowicz, blah blah blah. He must do this. It was like guidelines that I had to follow, and so I was like, perfect. So there was this movie, Welcome in Berlin, and what happens in it is early in the war, in the early days of the war, before the Nazis had fully taken power, most of the Jews were leaving Germany, and a bunch of them, left. And my theory was that BJ Blazkowicz was one of these kids, and he went and he goes to Mesquite, Texas, and grows up. And then in Welcome in Berlin, they are returning to Berlin during the liberation of Berlin, and they're part of the U.S. Army now, and they're seizing Berlin, and they go in, and what they encounter is their old schoolmasters who are now Nazi Party members. And so I adopted that, and I had that as that BJ had grown up, he was a child in Germany, a Jewish kid, and then he goes to because Blazkowicz, he goes to Mesquite, Texas, grows up, and is now returning, and he returns to Castle Wolfenstein. And
great.
And so I kind of stole a little bit from this amazing black and white movie that I've never been able to find again. I'm desperate. If anybody finds it, like, tweet me and let me, or X me or whatever, post it to me and let me know, because I haven't been able to find it.
All right. The Looney Tunes critic for 10. Zappa said execs post 70s were young and wanted to be respected, so they make creative decisions despite having never been artists. Same with animation. Execs and toymen destroyed 80s cartoons.
That may be true. That's as good a theory as any. I think the point of where we're at now is that, if you're liberated from what the execs are telling you to do, because listen, when I was a kid, I was making movies on Super 8, I was making little movies and shooting my little movies, and it didn't really change. Like, just because you have money and film trucks and the cinematographer and all that, you're still like a little kid making a movie. What was different is all of a sudden you've got a bunch of guys looking over your shoulder, and if you're playing with, toy soldiers or something, you're like, hey, why don't you have that little squad attack that machine gun nest? They're telling you what to do in your playtime all of a sudden. And so in a way, these are great times, I think, because we can forget those guys that are behind you telling you what to do. Just dream your movie and put it on screen so that the rest of us can see it. And by the way, if it's not AI that you're doing it with, if it's digital video, dream your movie that way and go out and make your movie like that. If you've got a 16mm camera or even a Super 8 camera, there's been a ton of movies that were made on, like that Harmony Korine, I think, made movies. Or was it him who made movies on Super 8? And so it's not an impossible thing to do. Just take whatever you have and whatever tools at your disposal, and if you want to tell a story, go out and tell it.
Okay, fuck Google said for 2. My favorite Cirque movie was Written on the Wind.
Yeah. My favorite Cirque movie is All That Heaven Allows. But like all of Cirque's movies are amazing. I mean, he's like an extraordinary. People watch him and they think they're melodramatic and they're sappy a little bit, but I don't find it like that at all. I find them deeply moving and emotional, and part of that I think is his visual vocabulary that he uses in this very structured usage of the camera as an emotional tool to unite, divide his characters and to push concepts and ideas, and these are just brilliant films. It's a great movie. Everyone should see that movie.
All right. Karate Werewolf for 2. Too much midi-chlorians in the pool makes me itchy.
Yeah, me too.
Midi-chlorines, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Saltwater pools are probably the better way to go.
All right. Patrick Lemire for 199. Roger is one of us. Thanks. And then
Thank you.
Follows up with 2. One of us.
Well, that's an honor. Thank you.
Okay, so Matthew Hammond issues the challenge for 2. Can we get Justine Bateman and Avery on a panel?
I like Justine Bateman. I used to have a crush on Justine Bateman.
We all did.
Yeah, back when.
Our awards event, she was there. If had you come, you could have met her and talked to her. She's very anti-AI. You see from her social media,
and that's okay. I understand also where she's coming from.
Yeah,
it's you're anti something until you are exposed to it in a positive way, and you see how it can help you. And so anybody, there's a lot of people who are really anti stuff, but why be anti anything that is a tool that can be put into somebody's hand? And and I get that they're thinking that it's theft and all of this, but I don't see it that way. I just don't see it that way. And were I to hang out with her a little, we would have a long conversation, and I might be able to move the needle a little bit with her.
She has a film festival called Credo 23. That's the anti-AI. To get in the festival, you can't use AI to have in your project.
Well, that's okay. Those Dogma guys, they were like, you cannot use this, you cannot use that. I mean, sometimes having a restriction is not a bad thing. And if it's her festival, she's allowed to do whatever she wants. And and so I have no problem with that. Like, it's go to town. I mean, I'm about to I've been recruited. I'm in the jury, and I'm being made like a partner of the World International Film Festival, the WAIF or whatever, which is going to be in Cannes. They're actually doing it everywhere. It's all over the world. It's going to be in Sao Paulo and all these other countries. And this film festival that's only for AI. So, it's not to the exclusion of other movies, but it's an AI film festival. So as long as there's an AI film festival, why shouldn't there be a film festival that is, let's call her film festival a Dogma style festival, a non-AI festival. It's okay.
We'll be sure to clip this, and I'll reply to her on X, and we'll see, get that conversation started.
But I think the conversation is worth having. It's worth continuing.
Absolutely. Listen, and it's not like everybody says, cinema is dead, long live cinema. Whoever said that. It's the same thing. These conversations occur constantly, when movies were being made for television, when things are shot on video, people have debates and conversations, and cinema is something that you're supposed to get passionate about. My friends at the Cinémathèque, Jean-Francois Roger, and the guys who run the French Cinémathèque, they tell me stories about, they'd sit around and have coffee at a little cafe after a screening, and somebody would, make a comment like, "Oh, Jean Renoir's Le Règle de Jeu is not a good movie." And the other guy would say, "There is only one answer for that." And he would punch it. And so, cinema is we're supposed to be having these kind of, heated discussions. What shouldn't occur out of it is kind of hatred for one another. What we should really love is that, hey, you may be using oil paint, and you may be fighting for oil paint, and you may believe that oil paint is the only way to go, but I'm a watercolor guy, and I'm going to shoot this with watercolor. I'm going to paint with watercolor, and both are paintings, and let's just respect each other's work. The real important thing is that we feel something, and that the audience feels, an emotion, or that they laugh, or that they escape their lives for the craziness of the world, how it is right now, for a few minutes and fall into a waking dream, or that they see a movie and it causes them to ask questions afterwards and debate other people about the movie. These are both valuable, to human discourse and dialogue.
Well, I'll share a guilty pleasure movie I recently purchased. Track this down. I can't believe it. It's Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
I just watched that
with the
recently.
Bee Gees and Peter Frampton. It's I saw this in a theater as a kid.
Yeah, I saw it too.
That was one of the weirdest movies.
It's really weird.
Yeah, and I'm sure there were people who were like, "How dare the Bee Gees, do that?" And I haven't seen that movie since I first saw it, but I'll bet if I watch it now, I'd be like, "This is very interesting."
I haven't seen it since I was a kid, and it's on Blu-ray. So
incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we? Matthew Hammond for 2. I want Roger Avery and Uwe Boll. I want a Roger Avery and Uwe Boll movie. A collaboration there.
Uwe, for whatever reason, challenged me to a boxing match.
Don't do it.
What's funny is I only said nice things about him, but I think Quentin may have said something rude about him, and I frequently get lumped in with when somebody gets upset with Quentin. Very frequently, people get upset with me at the same time. And Uwe, for some reason, reacted and was like, "I challenge Roger Avery to a boxing." I'm like, dude, you're like semi-professional boxer. Right. I work out every now and then boxing, but I am not a boxer, and I'm not really a fighter like that. I'm more of a lover. And so and actually, I think was it the Postman? Was it not the Postman? The Postal. Postal. A very interesting film. And so I actually, I would like Uwe to retract his statements about me. I think they were made in an upset state, and I think that guy takes a lot of arrows that are undeserved, because he's kind of a brilliant businessman, and he's actually made more movies than I have. He's really smart on how he gets productions going. He's just not all of his movies are fantastic, but Postal is a very interesting film.
He would probably agree with you, but he's a frequent guest of the show. Maybe we have you both on. Maybe we get something going like I love that Jon Favreau show, Dinner for Five.
Oh yeah, Dinner for Five is great.
That was a great show.
That was a really good show.
Like an early sort of Rogan, get people together, have deep conversations. It was always too short, but that show was awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. Jon Favreau, every time I think that I want very badly to dislike him, but I kind of love him. Everything he does, I think, is brilliant. Like when he made that, food truck cooking movie, I thought, wow, that's like one of the most personal movies I've seen in a really long time. I thought he was brilliant. With his Iron Man 2, he has what's his name, telling Mickey Rourke, he's basically wants to be, he's his agent. He's like, you need somebody who'll do this for you. You need somebody who'll do that for you. I want to be that guy. And that movie is a parable for Hollywood. It's kind of brilliant.
Yeah. Wasn't it Sam Rockwell?
Sam Rockwell. That's who. Yeah. Sam Rockwell is brilliant in that movie. He's always brilliant. Sam Rockwell is one of my favorite guys. In fact, in Galaxy Quest, I think I talked about it the other day. Galaxy Quest gets a lot of shit from people because if you really love Star Trek, maybe you're upset about it. If you don't like Star Trek, you don't get it. I think Sam Rockwell is so funny, and I think Galaxy Quest is such a great movie. And so, Sam Rockwell can almost do no wrong. And his early movies, Jerry and Tom, is really good. And my favorite performance of his is Box of Moonlight, where he kind of plays the sort of, Peter Pan, never grew up kind of guy, living out in the woods or whatever. And John Turturro kind of he's all uptight and he encounters him. Box of Moonlight is brilliant, and he's brilliant in it. And so, I would love to do a Table for Five type thing. I would even do the great Jon Favreau.
You've got to see his new movie.
Good luck.
Good luck. Have fun. Don't die. You
Oh yeah. I was invited to it, but I was invited to it, but I had to fly out of town, and I was doing Joe Rogan, and Gore Verbinski invited me to a screening of it. And the truth is, I would rather see it with an audience. I think I've already expressed that. I would rather see it with an audience anyways, but he was very gracious to invite me. And that movie looks amazing. And Sam Rockwell, being who Sam Rockwell is, I'm sure that movie is fantastic.
Well, Gore Verbinski.
I want to say really quickly. I'm sorry I talk about Gore Verbinski, but I just want to say I think this movie is this year at the Academy Awards. I think there's a lot of interesting movies actually playing, and I think I'm kind of encouraged by a lot of the films that are coming out. So
yeah. I was going to say Gore Verbinski had to bypass the studio gatekeepers to make Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Did he
do it? Yeah, so he financed it himself along with Briarcliff, and made it.
Wow, my friend Joseph Kahn does that frequently. He very bravely takes the money he makes from music videos and commercials and whatnot, and then he goes out and he makes Detention, for example, which I think is a brilliant little movie. And he made Ick, and I think Joseph is such an exciting filmmaker because he is such a rebel and just doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks. He's just going to do what he wants to do. And so I think he's a super exciting filmmaker.
Yeah, we've had a lot of your friends on, and we'd love to get one more of your friend on.
Yeah, sure.
One particular friend on. Let's see. The Looney Tunes critic, for 5. Some people said Kathleen Kennedy was drunk on power when she destroyed Star Wars. I say when George destroyed it, he was drunk on Qui-Gon Jinn.
That's a great joke there. Thank you.
Indy Shade for 5. Roger, ask Chris about emails from Grailmoon John. 2 ideas in email chain that could potentially help your company or not. I have no idea what that means.
I don't know what he's talking about. I'm so sorry.
It's so funny. I am being, my email and my direct messages and everything, it's blown up out of control. And I haven't answered half of them just because I don't have time for it. I'm doing performance capture sessions all day long usually. And so I'm sure I'm getting sent a lot of submissions. Actually, I'm not supposed to read or accept anything, and we're working on Massive and my company we're going to eventually put together a portal of some kind for people to be able to do submissions on stuff.
Yeah, Chris, it's hard to do email when you're busy.
We have an ongoing fight over email, but
my emails are ridiculous. I know. I'm trying, guys, and then on top of it, I got junk mail coming in on top of that. And so,
no, Chris's email is at 0 right now. So
yeah, almost 0.
All right, Linton 25 or 10. Roger Avery is such a down to earth guy. What a great interview.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for that.
What a nice thing to say.
I did want to mention something before we wrap up here about, have you heard of Eyes Wide Shut being recut? There's a recut version of Eyes Wide Shut.
When I was on Joe Rogan, I suggested that I wanted to do that. And actually years ago, I had I proposed a little club of people called the Sons of Kubrick. And the idea was to get together Kubrickian style directors, like Keith Gordon and Mark Romanek and the Coen brothers, and people who were obviously influenced by Kubrick, and create a little congress where we could then go in and petition Warner Brothers to release the the footage to us and allow us to use the materials that I have to, put together what we feel would be a more appropriate version of the film. And I kind of, I would still like to do that. But apparently somebody else is doing it for me. So
somebody did this. I did this piece. I just basically an interview with the filmmaker. This was in 2018. And he recut the film. Marshall Allman is an actor. He was just editing and playing around and did a new version of Eyes Wide Shut.
Wow, I'm interested in seeing it. I will
DM this to you. You can check that DM.
I mean, I did it with Blade Runner 2048 or whatever. I cut out Harrison Ford and rejiggered it a little bit and cut out the, what a replicant is at the beginning. I mean, all the stuff that you don't need. And I tightened the movie considerably. And I was very satisfied with what I did. I didn't have the courage to release it to the world, but I can't wait to see what this guy has done. Eyes Wide Shut recut.
Yep.
And I have to say, the reason I got into the Door brothers, who are super, I won't say who they are, but the Door brothers was their Lies Wide Shut. That was the first time I saw it, and I was like, okay, this is where AI is actually being put to use. And we're actually seeing something that is a kind of social examination using, sort of the visuals of Eyes Wide Shut and then AI, and then also Lies Wide Shut was amazing. So that's when I knew something could come of it.
Their work that convinced me. It was their work and Damon Packard that something is more to it. It's not just for like parodies or like sizzle reels, like that Starfleet Academy sizzle reel from that channel Starfleet Dreams.
Right.
That should have been the show. It should have been this passionate students and working hard. And I don't know.
To go from, Wesley and what was it, Delta Squadron and like, and Boothby and like, I mean, we all love Starfleet Academy. We know what Starfleet Academy is.
Yes.
This is just not like vibing with my vision of Starfleet Academy, but it's clearly somebody else's idea.
Well, here we go here from JoeBlow.com is you're all in on AI. And I just remind people to follow Avary, follow you on
at Avary.
You are on fire. I feel like we're brothers. We're exactly the same age, born about 10 days apart.
Yeah.
Oddly. And you are like all that Gen X, like anger that you kind of just feel. I'm right there with you, man. I question everything. I have very little respect for authority and question everything.
Yeah, I call it Gen X skepticism, not.
It's simple. Gen X skepticism.
If only the boomers would let go. Just let go.
Well, I want to definitely have you back when you've got a film you want to talk about, something more. I hope you become a recurring guest like Uwe Boll. Maybe we have you both on.
I look forward to it. Listen, I got nothing against Uwe. I think he's kind of a genius. I think he's kind of a genius. So.
Yeah, he's amazing. So Roger, just can't thank you enough. I'll hit you up and let's just keep in touch on everything.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This has really been a joy. I really appreciate it.
This is great. Thank you, Roger.
And it's weird to hear Alan, like you watch the show. You've seen Alan.
Oh yeah. No, I watch you guys from time to time. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, you keep bringing up all my old haunts.
I actually, it was funny the other day, and I don't know where it is right now, but I was digging through my old Film Threat magazines, and and I found I think it was Natural Born Killers, and like I was digging through something. I was like, oh my god! And I meant to actually bring it up here and put it in your face.
Please do.
I forgot it downstairs, so
please do. We're working on a compendium, like a hardcover book of the best of Film Threat with reprints and every issue digital. We'll probably do a Kickstarter before the end of the year.
Film Threat was like my magazine back in the day. That was like, what you were doing with it was like exactly right. I subscribed. I had every issue back then. So.
Oh my God. Well, I don't have every issue. I lost it.
So it's an honor. It's an honor to be here now. So
great. Well, thank you so much, Roger. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Play some games. We'll talk soon.
Talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.
Take care. Later. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I am so sorry we did not get to everything here. Damn. And then a bunch of soups came in after. Let's go through these real quick.
Yeah, we'll answer it as if we were Roger.
Yes.
Uncle Jimmy Jam gifted 5 Film Dirt memberships. Thank
We
you.
will use AI how Roger would have responded.
Let's see. Indie Shade. It's all AI, not submissions.
It's about AI, not submissions. Okay.
The Looney Tunes critic for 2 released the Avary cut. Hashtag. Matthew Hammond for 2. Would Avery do a drama of the real Anthony Fauci? The answer is yes.
I think everyone wants to see that.
I think so. Indie Shade for 10. The ideas are about AI to make people more creative. Look into Brian Eno's oblique strategies. You'll get it. Filmmakers need unexpected obstacles and unexpected solutions to solve them.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's indie
Indie
filmmaking
Shade.
right there.
Appreciate that.
Let's see. Hemorrhoids Hurt. Thank you so much, Roger, Ellen, and Chris. So great.
Thank you. And thank you. Thanks, Alan. This was
Chris.
No,
Thanks for making this happen, Chris.
Yeah, no, thanks. Just we may evolve the Wednesday show. Hollywood on the Rocks will be our deep dive filmmaker interview show. What do you think of that? People still watching live. If you think that's a good idea, we'll do news at the top and then just do a deep dive interview on Wednesdays. We're going to have Jim Agnew on. Jim Agnew, producer Jim Agnew, has a new book coming out. He will be on. But I think Wednesday will be our interview day. Just it's a good opportunity for you to meet some. We'll still do interviews on Fridays. We have a filmmaker interview this Friday, but I'm saying on Wednesdays we'll do deep dives with filmmakers. Do people like that? Let me see people like
Just
that.
in the chats.
Yes, just why in the chat, and we will. Yeah, there was no Nerdrotic live today. No nooner today. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
Interview Woody Allen. We could ask him.
Yeah.
We could ask Woody
Send
Allen.
an email.
Yeah.
Well, we'll send a fax.
We'll bring on interesting people, filmmakers and stuff like that. Here we got a good
Bruce Leroy Jenkins for 5. Chris, can I also get the Asian gang before you read my super chat?
No, read that again more carefully.
Chris, can I also get the Asian gong before you read my
You got it, Bruce Leroy Jenkins. You got it. I appreciate it.
Look at all
Thank
those
you for
Y's
that.
in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, is it why? Okay, so we're gonna do this
Wise.
and Wednesdays. Also, we want to hear who you want us to interview. So,
Okay,
give us
Woody
some-
Allen is on the
Woody
list.
Allen, Paul Verhoeven. We will keep a list. We're gonna work on it. And there we go. And thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth, ADL is 24, Ololique, everyone who sent in a soup, everyone in the chat participating, hang out with us, Atomic Lori, Glenuccio. Just thank you very much. And this was a great show.
Yeah.
One to be remembered. So thank you, everyone. And we'll be back Friday. We've got lots of films to review, like a lot of films, honestly. It's going to be crazy. And we have an interview, and I forgot who it's with. I don't know why I forgot.
By the way, I was just thinking before the Ronda Rousey Gina Carano fight, we could have Roger Avery and Uwe Boll fight.
And have them react to clips and whatnot. But that's gonna wrap it up for us. I gotta make sure. Oh, wait. Oh,
Yeah.
there's another.
Hemorrhoid Hurts for 5. Wolfenstein 3D. I loved it so much. I still play it now on PC. I bought it in 1993. Yep, still works. Ha ha ha. It gives me motion sickness even now.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I love that game. That was great. That evolved into Doom, which was amazing. Love Doom. And your Hemorrhoid Hurts, like your little avatar there of Aaron Harkonnen.
Yeah, I gotta say the first Wolfenstein game scared the hell out of me when I played it.
Yes. If you played it, I played Doom and Wolfenstein in the dark. I would just play it with my PC in the dark. It was amazing. But that's it. We'll be back on Friday. thank you so much for hanging out with us. And Alan, what do you have to say?
Let's get out of here.